somebody slicing open a lemon, and they literally just squeeze out all the lemon juice into their mouth and swallowed. You know, the moment I say that, I guarantee you, at least with me, my mouth starts watering. That is a physical response to something verbally stated. If you combine enough of these factors, it becomes too much for your conscious mind to handle, and you go into this deeper state of hypnosis. They could tell you anything, and you have no freaking clue what is going on. Like, whoa.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Master the Power of Self-Hypnosis by Roy Hunter. A phenomenal book. I'm almost all the way through it. I'm down to pretty much just some hypnosis scripts and going more in depth with triggers and how those things work. I wanted to share some of my experiences when it comes to states of hypnotism. One thing I like to do when I get into a topic, something that I'm fascinated or passionate about, I just dive all in, right? If it's truck driving, I eat, sleep, and breathe truck driving until I passed school and built my CSA score and got some good jobs. And, you know, today I have a lease truck and I'm in business for myself. So, which is amazing because I don't want to be anchored down to one thing. I have businesses in other areas, so I can do investing. I pretty much have the freedom to be creative and talk about what I want to talk about. But I immerse myself into things that I'm fascinated about. And in this case, of course, it's hypnosis. So I've been watching videos and trying to better understand states of hypnosis. Now, the common theme is, and this book lays it out very well, is that hypnosis is simply guided meditation. It's nothing to get freaked out about. You don't have to sit there and, you know, feel like, well, I don't like the feeling of being out of control. You know, I don't want to be out of control in my actions. I want to be in control. And so that's a lot of fear that people have, which Roy Hunter does a very good job at extinguishing that fear and explaining that our minds go into the alpha state, which is a state of hypnotism. It's simply a state of taking a message from your conscious mind and putting it into your subconscious mind. And there's different ways to do it. He talks about in the book, there's, you know, different gateways to get things in your subconscious, whether it's repetition. However, if you do that when you're simply awake, just repeating a positive message to yourself, the reason it doesn't work 99% of the time is because you would have to repeat it so many times. You'd have to do it for like 3 years straight. You'd have to repeat it like 2,000 times to yourself, you know, or more to, you know, really start to get it into the subconscious. Whereas if you put your mind in an alpha state, which is just simply a state of deep relaxation, and they've tested this, like you can measure this. You can measure a person's brainwaves and the different states that they go through, right? So when you begin to relax, you go into the alpha state, which is a state that makes it very easy to put something in your subconscious mind. So according to the status quo, it is simply, hypnosis is simply guided meditation. You're relaxing, you're sitting on a chair in a relaxed state. There's different induction methods and things, but essentially at the core, it's just relaxation. You lay down, you close your eyes, and you get very relaxed. And next thing you know, you're able to get something conveyed very easily into your subconscious mind that carries on when you're in those awake states. And I know in my case, usually it takes 2 to 3 sessions of doing it, and at first you think, oh, probably nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden in the middle of some day, some work day or something that you're doing, you will suddenly realize that I just did something I wasn't consciously aware of, that I programmed under a deep state of hypnosis. And I'm noticing that my outcome is changing because my actions are changing. I'm doing these things and not thinking about it. This is the general consensus when it comes to hypnosis. Now, I've studied some that have filmed, schools training on how to bring people into states of hypnosis. And the people seem to just be completely out of it. Like, they're unaware of anything that's happening. And the question was asked in the classroom, are they aware of what's going on? Because their eyes are open, but they don't look like they're even there. And that the status quo, of course, is it's just relaxation. They're fully conscious, right? So the hypnotist said something interesting. He said, they don't have an effing clue what's going on. They may hear audibly noises and sounds, but they're not here. Like, their minds doesn't comprehend a thing that we're saying. We could tell them pretty much anything at this point. So that has been the 2 sides that seem to battle. Is there's this consensus that over here you can get into a state of hypnosis where your conscious mind doesn't know a dang thing on what's going on. You are out of it. Your eyes may be open. Your arms may move. I mean, you may be able to be told something under hypnosis, and you're, told to raise your hand or raise your arm, and you'll do it and not remember it. Then there's this other side over here, and guys like Roy Hunter, which I have a lot of respect for, who say, no, you're awake the whole time. I've seen people run out of hypnosis sessions because the hypnotist asked them to do something they were not comfortable with. And the moment that they heard them trying to tell them that under this relaxation guided meditation, they rejected that message and walked off stage. In one case, somebody flipped him off, or flipped off the hypnotist. So there's this argument back and forth. And so I have personally been on this endeavor to experiment with different states of hypnosis and see for myself things that I experienced. Now, initially, as I was going through some of the hypnosis scripts spoken of in this book and others that I found on YouTube, videos that I listen to and get into different states, I found it to be just that, guided meditation. It's simply, I'm relaxed, I'm conscious. I could open my eyes at any point. I can take notes. But still be in an alpha state to where it's like that in between. It's you're conscious enough, you know what's going on. You're just calm. You're relaxed. You're like, I feel really good today. I feel so relaxed, confident. Or when you're engrossed in a movie, that's a good example of an alpha state. I can attest to that. That's what I experienced. However, until recently, I was completely unaware that you can experience a whole nother level of hypnosis where you're out of it. They could tell you anything and you have no freaking clue what is going on. And it, in a way, it fascinated me because I'm into psychology. I love things about the mind. And so I'm fascinated by this, but at the same time I'm like, whoa, this is unreal. This cannot be happening. I've seen these TV shows where they test and see. I watched a mini documentary on, they were testing to see if you could program somebody to kill, somebody to be a programmed killer and not be consciously aware of it. And they gave this person a fake gun, with blanks, obviously. And they did this whole setup with bodyguards and, made somebody look like they were somebody important. And under a deep state of hypnosis, they had trained this person to carry out the assassination. And there would be a certain trigger that would set it off, and they would look like they're fully conscious and alert. they would shoot very accurately, but they would have no recollection of this. And so when I'm reading this book and others, you know, they're saying this is just for TV, it's fake as can be, you're always conscious and alert under states of hypnosis. Well, recently, I found a hypnotist. She used a various combination of techniques, bringing you into a state of hypnosis from several different angles. And I've learned about this in business. There are cognitive biases spoken of by Warren Buffett's right-hand man, and these are used every day in advertising. The Lollapalooza effect is what it's called in business, and this has nothing to do with hypnosis, but everything to do with it. It's simply in business where you can use things like social proof. You see somebody you know and trust wearing a product or drinking a Coke or, you know, whatever it is in marketing. You have peer pressure. You have feeling like you're going to miss out on the opportunity. You've got all these things, right? Well, in business, they speak of this, what's called the Lollapalooza effect, where you combine, somebody that's very skilled can combine every one of those cognitive biases and pretty well sell a person on anything, whether it's good for them or not, because it becomes, in the right environment, when you have enough factors cognitively, your mind cannot handle it. It simply buys into what is being sold. And there's been whole books on the power of marketing and this effect that becomes so overwhelming that in certain situations, that it becomes too much to resist. And you will end up overpaying, you will end up buying something that you don't want. You know, it is a legitimate thing spoken of in business, right? Well, there's something similar in hypnosis, and that's when you take all of these factors and one by one, repetition, you know, speaking softly, ASMR, you know, getting up close to the camera and, you know, speaking, let's see where the camera is at. Personal attention, that's ASMR, you know, the tapping, you know, tapping sounds in the background. Maybe it's a clock, you know, gently tapping. Maybe it's a static, maybe it's the way you speak, you know, in a calming fashion. It is the ability to begin to relax, and it is focusing your mind maybe on a spot. You know, look at that spot on the wall, you know, and just for a moment, just to analyze that spot, just look at every aspect of that spot, and then gently notice, you know, your peripheral vision while still focus on that spot. What do you see? Do you see patterns in the walls? You know, all these things, okay? Imaginative language, like imagining somebody, like if I told a story of somebody slicing open a lemon and they literally just squeezed out all the lemon juice into their mouth and swallowed. You know, the moment I say that, I guarantee you, at least with me, my mouth starts watering. That is a physical response to something verbally stated, because it was, you could picture it, you could see it in your mind's eye. So there are these different factors to getting something into your subconscious mind. And the theory goes is that if you combine enough of these factors at the same time, it becomes too much for your conscious mind to handle, and you go into this deeper state of hypnosis where you may hear what's being said, but you can't make out one word. You're just like in this catatonic state where you're gone, like you're out. And I experienced this recently. And I was watching one of these hypnotists that combines all of these various factors, and I didn't expect much to happen, but I began to listen. I got relaxed, went through the stuff, and she said something very interesting at the start of this video. She had said, at some point you may lose track of the things that I am saying, but just know that this is perfectly normal and perfectly natural. And so I was kind of like, that's kind of a weird state. Lose track of what she's saying, like hear her words but not understand them, you know? So anyway, I blew it off. it was a good induction, you know, using different things. And so I'm listening and going through the relaxation techniques, you know, counting from 9 to 1 and, you know, just deeper relaxation, focusing on your feet and then your legs relaxing and blah, blah, blah. So when she gets about 3 minutes into this video, maybe 4, I realized that at one point I was out. I like completely blacked out, and it wasn't falling asleep. I've fallen asleep during hypnosis before. This is distinctively different. And what was so strange is I could hear her voice. I did not understand one word she was saying. And it was so hard to even get that far because I didn't even realize, I didn't fully realize that I was in this state, but all I remember is I could hear some of the ASMR sounds, like static in the background, every once in a while, like a static or a sound. And I could hear her speaking, but I could not, she might as well have been speaking Chinese. I did not understand one word, not one word this lady was saying. And so maybe what felt like maybe 60 seconds of this went by. And next thing you know, I heard her saying, okay, now on the count of 5, you will become fully conscious and alert. And she began to count from 1 to 5. And on 5, she said, open your eyes, you're fully alert. That is the first time that I understood one word she said. And what to me felt like 60 seconds. It felt like a very short amount of time. And that's all I remember. I remember being in this state, I'm like, it's just weird. And then all of a sudden, within a few seconds, she's counting down saying, on the count of 5, you will be fully awake. And I was like, this is so weird. I've never experienced anything like this. So I went back, and for my own comfort, I wanted to find out what was said and how long a time span had went by, because to me it felt like maybe 60 seconds, something like that, from where I lost track of everything. I went back, guys. This was 20 minutes. 20 minutes I was in this state. I had no freaking clue what was going on. Time was distorted. I could not understand one thing. And next thing I know, she's counting. So I went back on the video just for my comfort once again. And I wanted to know, what is it that she said? What are the things that she was saying? Because surely I can remember them. No. Maybe, I even thought for a minute, my skeptical mind, maybe, just maybe, she was actually talking gibberish in it and it was a technique or something that I wasn't aware of. Went back, nope. So it was all the normal stuff. When you encounter the situation, you feel very calm and confident, and you know that you can control your anxiety. You can reduce that level of anxious feeling anytime you want. It's all basic things that you hear in hypnosis, so it was nothing shady. I had no freaking clue what was going on. And so the next night I decided to do this again and just listen to this thing. And I'm like, surely the second time it's not going to work. It's not going to work 2 times in a row. I'm going to be too aware of what's going on, especially if I'm thinking about it. Nope. About 4 minutes in, 3 minutes in, I was out. I heard voices, I heard sounds. I didn't know anything else that was going on. They could have told me to, shoot somebody, and I would have had no freaking clue. And next thing I know, I hear her counting up, and I'm awake. And I'm like, no way. This is so weird. So I decided to do it day 3, and then day 4. Every single time, I have completely, I call it blacked out, because you're in this weird state. It's like I'm only remembering the last, maybe 60 seconds before she starts counting or something. But you just don't have a clue. I have been so fascinated to learn about these deeper states of hypnosis, and at least for myself, you could try it for yourself, but at least for me, I know it's absolutely possible. And like I said, I have all the respect for Roy Hunter and all of these other guys, but I've experienced this. I know that you can get into those states, and those are obviously going to be states where you're putting a message directly into your subconscious mind, and it's like programming a computer. You put in what you want, and the outcome just happens. It becomes an automatic response, to triggers and to things and situations, and you just go. All of a sudden you find yourself more confident, and doing things that you didn't think you could ever do before, just because they become an automatic trigger. Anyway, that's enough for now, guys. I have so much more to share. I just wanted to bring you into my exciting journey of the mind and of hypnosis and what I have personally been experiencing with it. Anyway, love you guys.
I wanted to stay this way forever.